1 year after the divorce, my ex-wife texted, "We need to talk urgently." I said, "Not now, I'm out with your sister." The next morning, I got a surprise visit. Sup, Reddit. So 1 year after my divorce, my ex-wife texted me at 7:43 p.m. on a Tuesday. "We need to talk urgently." 8 words that made my jaw tighten like I'd just touched a live wire without checking the breaker first. I was at my kitchen table doing my Tuesday routine, receipts and invoices, making sure the numbers lined up. I'd already done 3 inspections that day: a flip with DIY wiring that could have burned the place down, a commercial job that was totally up to code until I opened panels, and a safety check for an older couple selling their house. I, 50 male, divorced, living in a rental house just outside Dayton, Ohio. The kind of place where the bathroom faucet drips no matter how many times you replace the washer. But it's mine. Nobody's name on the lease but Russ. I pay my bills on time, keep my grass cut, and wave to neighbors even when they don't wave back. Tina. We were married 26 years before she became my ex. The woman who could convince you a flooded basement was a water feature and make you think it was your idea to buy the place. Real estate agent, top seller in her office 3 years running, the kind of person who could smile and stab you in the same breath. We'd been officially done for exactly 1 year. We married young, both of us 23 and stupid. She walked away bitter because the prenup I'd insisted on meant she only got what was legally hers. The divorce itself had been a fight. 7 months of lawyers, emails that started with "per my attorney" and ended with threats. She wanted the house we'd paid off together, even though the prenup said we split everything 50-50. Wanted my retirement beyond her legal share. Wanted me to keep paying her car insurance because she'd gotten used to it. I said no to all of it. The house got sold, valued at $185,000. We each took half. My 401k stayed mine except for what the prenup allowed her. The SUV she'd picked out 3 years earlier? She bought me out of my half, or she could walk. I kept the furniture I wanted, she kept hers. My lawyer said I was being too rigid, but at 50, I'd learned rigid beats generous when you're dealing with someone who sees kindness as weakness. I couldn't prove she was cheating, but the pattern was obvious. Schedule conflicts that didn't match her office calendar, her phone suddenly locked down after years of living face up on the counter, work trips that didn't exist on her email confirmations, late-night showings that came with expensive cologne and someone else's shampoo. I didn't accuse her. Accusations are free ammo. I went no fault and treated it like a panel swap. Shut power off first, document everything, and don't touch anything you can't verify. Before I filed, I protected myself like I'd protect a circuit. Opened a new bank account, rerouted my direct deposit, froze my credit with all 3 bureaus. Copied every tax return, retirement statement, loan document. Changed every password. Consulted a lawyer first. I don't touch wires unless I verify they're dead. Same principle applies to divorce. I stared at her text for a solid minute. My lawyer had drilled it into me during the divorce. Don't engage, don't feed the fire, let it burn out on its own. Smart advice. Problem is, pride doesn't care about smart advice. And at 50, you'd think I'd have outgrown it. I haven't, I typed back. Another time, I'm on a date with your sister. Hit send. Because the thing is, I actually was heading out. Marlene was waiting for me at the Cracker Barrel off I-70, the one with the gift shop full of seasonal decorations nobody needs. Tina was 49, Marlene was 47. Brown hair always pulled back, the kind of woman who listens more than she talks. Works as a dental hygienist at a practice in Kettering, drives a 10-year-old Honda that she keeps cleaner than most people keep their kitchens. Marlene reached out 3 months after the divorce was final. Simple message. You didn't deserve how that ended. We met for coffee. Didn't even hold hands for the first month. She didn't trash talk her sister. She talked about being tired of being used as backup. About watching the divorce from the sidelines. Biting her tongue because that's what you do in families. After it was finalized, she couldn't stay quiet anymore. Tina had always treated Marlene like a backup plan. The sister you call when you need someone to watch your house or co-sign something or listen to you complain. Marlene had been doing it for years. Being reliable. Being forgotten. We started with that one coffee. Then another 2 weeks later. Then dinner at a quiet Italian place where nobody knew either of us. 2 people who'd survived the same hurricane comparing notes on the damage. It wasn't romantic at first. Just comfortable. Then it was more. When I walked into the Cracker Barrel, Marlene was already in our usual booth, hands wrapped around a coffee mug. You look tense, she said when I slid in. Long day. Tina? I nodded. She texted. Something urgent, apparently. Marlene's face did this thing where she tried not to react but couldn't quite hide it. She texted me too. Said something about you losing it. I snorted. Funny how things become urgent when they realize they can't control the situation anymore. We ordered the usual. Meatloaf, mashed potatoes, iced tea. The waitress knew us by now. Around us, families were eating. Normal people living normal lives. We were maybe 10 minutes into our meal when the air shifted. Marlene's shoulders tensed. Then I heard the heels. Tina walked in like she owned the place. Hair perfect despite it being after 8 p.m. Makeup fresh like she just applied it in the car. Phone already in her hand, screen glowing. She stopped 3 tables away from us. Close enough to make a scene, but far enough to claim she wasn't trying to start anything. Russ, she said, loud enough for half the restaurant to hear. We need to talk. Now. I kept my hands visible on the table, both palms flat against the fake wood surface. Not here, Tina. Yes, here, she snapped. You don't get to ignore me. You don't get to parade around with my sister like everything's fine. A manager materialized from somewhere near the kitchen. Older woman, maybe 60. The kind who'd probably dealt with worse than this on a Friday night. Ma'am, is there a problem? Tina turned to her, and I watched the transformation happen in real time. The angry ex-wife melted away, and the concerned citizen appeared. The I'm the victim voice. I just happened to be nearby, and saw my ex-husband harassing my sister. I feel unsafe. Marlene's jaw tightened. You followed us here. Tina stepped closer, grabbed Marlene's arm hard enough to make her wince. Don't you dare take his side. Her phone came up instantly with her other hand. Recording. Screen pointed right at us. See? She's defending him. He's manipulated her too. This is what he does. The manager looked between us, calculating. Reading the situation the way you do when you've been managing a restaurant for 20 years. Sir, maybe it's best if... I didn't move. Kept my voice level. I'm having dinner with my friend. This woman is my ex-wife. She walked in, approached our table uninvited, and started filming us without permission. Tina's eyes flashed. I know people here. I know the owner. You think you can just humiliate me and walk away? The manager's expression shifted. The customer service mask came off. Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. I'm a customer too. I have rights. Ma'am, this is private property. You're disrupting other guests. You can leave now, or you'll be trespassed and I'll call the police. Call them. Tina's voice hit that pitch that made dogs nervous and babies cry. Let them see what he's doing. The manager pulled out her phone, made the call. Within 6 minutes, a cruiser pulled up. 2 officers walked in, the older one taking one look at Tina and getting that expression cops get when they know exactly what kind of call this is. They talked to the manager first, then to Tina while she waved her phone around, then to me and Marlene. Other diners were staring now, some recording on their own phones. The older officer pulled out a small notebook, the kind that fits in a shirt pocket. He asked Tina to step outside first. Through the window, I watched her gesturing, pointing back at us, her mouth moving rapid fire. The younger officer stayed inside, standing near our table with his arms crossed. Not hostile, just present. When the older cop came back in, he asked me basic questions. How long I'd been there, whether I'd contacted Tina, whether I'd threatened anyone. Simple stuff. My answers were shorter than his questions. He wrote 2 lines in his notebook. Marlene confirmed everything without being asked twice. Ma'am, the older officer said, his voice patient but firm, you need to leave the property. The manager has asked you to go. If you return, it's trespassing, and you will be arrested. This isn't over, Tina said, but her voice shook now. She pointed at me, finger trembling. This isn't over, Russ. She left. Finally. The restaurant went quiet for about 10 seconds, that awkward silence after a scene. Then conversations started up again, careful and hushed. Marlene was pale. Her hands were shaking when she reached for her water glass. I'm sorry. Not your fault, I said. We finished our meal in near silence. When I got home around 10 p.m., I set up my system, wrote a timeline with timestamps, saved the receipt, took screenshots, texted Marlene for confirmation she'd seen Tina grab her arm. She responded within 2 minutes. Bruise on her forearm, everything documented. I created a folder labeled Evidence, backed it up to a thumb drive. Wednesday morning, 6:18 a.m. The knock came firm and professional. Not aggressive, just confident. The kind of knock that says we're not leaving until you answer. I knew it wasn't a neighbor before I even pulled on my jeans. Neighbors tap softly and apologize for bothering you. This was official. I grabbed socks, an old IBW Union shirt that had seen better days, and opened the door. 2 sheriff's deputies stood on my porch. Brown uniforms, both wearing that neutral cop face that gives away nothing. The older one had silver at his temples. Looked like he'd been doing this for 20 years. Russ? the older one asked. He smelled like aftershave and cold air. That's me, I said. My voice came out steadier than I felt. Sir, we need to ask you a few questions. Mind if we come in? I stepped aside. They walked in, boots heavy on my laminate floor. The younger deputy's eyes swept the room quick. Kitchen table with receipts still spread out. Coffee pot on the counter. Television off. Nothing suspicious. Just a guy living alone keeping his head above water. Behind them, through the still open door, I could see my neighbor's curtains moving across the street. She was 70-something, retired teacher, the kind of neighbor who knew everyone's business and shared it at the grocery store. In a town this size, nothing spreads faster than a police cruiser in someone's driveway at 6 a.m. They asked about texts, my relationship with my ex-wife Marlene, the incident at the restaurant last night. The older deputy did most of the talking while the younger one took notes. They never accused me of anything directly, but words like harassment and unwanted contact floated around like they were testing how I'd react. My heart was doing this thing where it felt too big for my chest, but I kept my voice level. What about last night at the restaurant? The younger deputy asked. I explained it carefully. How Marlene and I were having dinner. How Tina walked in and confronted us. How she started filming. How the manager asked her to leave and she refused. I saw both deputies glance at each other. They already knew about that call. Did you touch her at any point? No. Did you threaten her? No. Have you been contacting her outside of that one text message yesterday? No. I haven't initiated any contact with her since the divorce was finalized. After maybe 10 minutes of questions that felt like 20, they thanked me and walked back to their cruiser. I stood in the doorway watching them pull away, my neighbor's curtain still moving, and realized something. This wasn't about talking. This was about leverage. Somewhere between my smart text and that knock on my door, Tina had decided to remind me she could still reach into my life whenever she wanted. I didn't go back to sleep, just stood at the kitchen sink staring out at frost on my driveway, listening to the refrigerator cycle on and off. My coffee went cold, but I drank it anyway. At my age, you don't waste things, including warnings. By 8 a.m., I had my phone back on. 3 new texts from Tina. I didn't open them, just stared at her name on the screen. My thumb moved to the message thread. I thought about responding, thought about telling her exactly what I thought of her little police visit. Then I deleted the draft. I screenshotted the notifications showing her name, added them to my evidence folder, then blocked the number. Instead, I called Eddie. Eddie and I pulled wire together for nearly 20 years. Factories, schools, hospitals, anywhere they needed power and didn't mind paying union rates. He retired a year before I did, and somehow looked 10 years younger for it. Russ, he said when he picked up. You sound rough. Got a minute? For you? Always. I told him about the knock, the complaint, the whole mess. There was a pause. I could almost hear him thinking, probably sitting in his kitchen with his own coffee, retired life interrupted by my drama. You got a lawyer? Had one for the divorce. You need one now, he said. And not some billboard guy. Someone who knows how small-town politics actually work. He gave me a name and number. She's sharp, Eddie said. Doesn't scare easy. Doesn't let people bluff. That was all I needed to hear. My lawyer was late 40s, hair pulled back, reading glasses perched on top of her head. She didn't rush me, didn't offer me any feel-good nonsense, just listened. I told her everything. The text, the date, the restaurant scene, the deputies showing up like I'd done something criminal. I slid my phone across her desk when she asked to see it. She read Tina's messages twice, scrolling slowly, then leaned back in her chair. This, she tapped my phone, is about pressure. She's creating a record. She wants you reacting. Angry texts, defensive calls. Anything she can screenshot and say, see? My hands tightened in my lap. She asked to talk, I said. Said it was urgent. My lawyer gave me this look. They always say that when they need something. Then she asked a question that stopped me cold. Has Tina asked you recently for a favor? Something paperwork related? I thought back. Really thought. About a week earlier, she'd left a voicemail. Soft voice, almost friendly. Hey, I just need to clear something up from when we were married. Should be quick. I hadn't called her back. I think so, I said slowly. My lawyer nodded like she'd expected exactly that answer. There it is. She laid out what I needed to do. Document everything. No direct contact. Let her handle the legal side. But as I sat there listening, something started clicking in my head. The authorization form Tina had mentioned. The urgent need to talk. The pattern of her needing my signature over the years. I need to check something, I said. That afternoon, I drove to my storage unit. The one I'd rented after the divorce to keep the stuff I didn't have room for. Old files, boxes of paperwork Tina had always handled. I'd never looked through most of it. Just packed it up and moved it out. I spent 4 hours going through boxes, tax documents, property records, bank statements from accounts I'd forgotten we had. Then I found what I was looking for, a folder labeled Business Prestige Property Solutions, Tina's LLC. Inside were authorization forms, 6 of them, all with my signature. Except I only remembered signing 2. The dates were spread out over 5 years. Some from years when I'd been working 60-hour weeks. Coming home too tired to read what I was signing, she'd put them in front of me with dinner, said they were routine, waited while I ate, and signed without thinking. I took pictures of everything. Then I started cross-referencing dates. Pulled my own credit report using the login I'd set up during the divorce. That's when I saw it. An account I didn't open. A major bank. Business line of credit. Opened 4 months ago. $45,000. Maxed out. I called my lawyer. I found something, I said. She listened while I explained. Then she was quiet for a long moment. Russ, this is fraud? Identity theft? You need to file a police report. Not yet, I said. My mind was racing now, putting pieces together like wiring a circuit. If I file now, she'll know I know. She'll lawyer up, start covering tracks. What are you thinking? I was thinking about Tina's voicemail, about her desperate text, about the way she'd shown up at the restaurant like she could still control me. She needed something from me. Something she thought she could manipulate me into giving her. I'm thinking I want to know exactly what she's done before I move, I said. Can you pull records quietly? Bank statements, loan applications, anything with my name on it? My lawyer was quiet. Then, this isn't how lawyers usually operate. I'm not asking you to do anything illegal, I said. I'm asking you to help me document what's already been done to me. Then we'll decide how to use it. Another pause. All right. But Russ, when we move fast, and we move hard. No half measures. Agreed. Over the next week, I became a ghost. I didn't respond to Tina's increasingly frantic messages that came through Kelsey and Marlene. I didn't change my routine. Went to work. Did my inspections. Came home. But every night I was building my case. My lawyer pulled records through proper legal channels. Subpoenas to banks. Document requests to lenders. Every piece of paper with my signature that I hadn't actually signed. We found 3 more accounts. A business credit card, a small business loan. Even a lease agreement for office space I'd never seen. Total damage, just over $65,000 in my name that I never authorized. But I wanted more than just documentation. I wanted to understand the whole picture. So I did something Tina never expected. I started talking to her business contacts. Not confrontationally, just curious. I called the bank that had issued the line of credit, identified myself, said I had questions about the account. They transferred me to a loan officer who'd worked with both of us on the application. I asked simple questions. When was it opened? What was it supposedly for? Who had they spoken with? Turns out I had called them twice. Except it wasn't me. The loan officer remembered a man's voice, smooth and professional, who knew all my personal information. Someone Tina had coached or paid to pretend to be me. I recorded the conversation. Ohio is a one-party consent state. Then I called the contractor who'd rented the office space. Asked about the lease. He remembered meeting with Tina and Russ to sign papers. Except Russ had been some guy I'd never met. The contractor still had security camera footage from that day. I drove out there, showed my ID, explained the situation. He burned me a copy of the footage. Every piece of evidence went into my folder. Every phone call got documented. Every timestamp recorded. Kelsey had been texting me more often. Short messages at first. You okay? Mom's acting weird. Then longer ones. She'd noticed Tina spiraling, calling her at odd hours, asking strange questions about whether I'd mentioned anything about old paperwork. I met Kelsey for lunch at a diner halfway between her apartment and my place. She looked tired. Planning a wedding while watching her mother unravel wasn't easy. Dad, what's going on? She asked once we'd ordered. I could have lied. Could have told her everything was fine. But she was 23, engaged, about to start her own life. She deserved the truth. Your mother forged my signature, I said. Opened accounts in my name. Took out loans. I'm building a case before I go to the police. Kelsey's face went pale. How much? Around $70,000 after final accounting. Maybe more. She set down her fork. Stared at the table. She asked me to co-sign something last month. Said it was for her business. That she needed family support. My stomach dropped. Did you? No, something felt off. She got really angry when I said I needed to think about it. Kelsey looked up at me. Dad, she's been calling me almost every day, asking about you, where you go, who you see. If you've mentioned her, don't tell her anything, I said. And Kelsey, if she asks you to sign anything, anything at all, you call me first. She nodded. Then her eyes filled with tears. I always knew she was controlling. But this is different. I reached across the table, squeezed her hand. You're not responsible for her choices. 2 days later, Kelsey called me at 11 p.m. She was crying. Dad, you need to hear this. She'd been at her mother's house helping her sort through old photos for the wedding. Tina had been having soda after soda, getting sloppy in that way people do when they're trying to forget something. And then she'd started talking. She told me everything, Kelsey said through tears. About the guy, about the affair. She said she started seeing him our last year of marriage. Said you were boring. Said you didn't appreciate her. My jaw tightened, but I stayed quiet. Then she said something worse, Kelsey continued. She said the money she took was owed to her, that you'd stolen her best years, that she deserved it. Dad, she doesn't even think she did anything wrong. I let out a slow breath. Did she say anything else? She said she needed you to sign one more thing. Something to make all of this go away. She kept saying if you just cooperated, everything would be fine. There it was. The real reason for the urgent text. She wasn't just trying to manipulate me. She was trying to make me complicit in covering up her fraud. Kelsey, I need you to do something for me, I said. I need you to write down everything she said. Dates, times, details, everything you remember. Why? Because your mother is about to learn that I'm not the same man she was married to. The next morning, Kelsey emailed me 4 pages, single-spaced, everything Tina had confessed. The affair started the last year before we divorced. The guy was a client, some investor she'd met through her real estate work. They'd been sloppy about it, meeting at hotels, taking trips together while I thought she was at conferences. And the money. She'd been planning this for over a year, opening accounts, forging signatures, building up credit in my name with the intention of maxing it out right before she needed it. The urgent text had been about getting me to sign a consolidation form, something that would have made me legally responsible for all of it. I forwarded everything to my lawyer. This changes things, she said when she called back. With her confession to Kelsey, we have motive. This wasn't just fraud. This was premeditated theft with intent to frame you for your debts. What's our next move? That's up to you, my lawyer said. We can file police reports, notify the banks, start the fraud claims process, or what? Or you can do what I think you're already planning. Make this public. Make it hurt. I smiled for the first time in days. Tell me what you need from me. I compiled everything into one evidence package. Forged signatures, fraudulent accounts, phone recordings, security footage, and Kelsey's statement about Tina's confession. Then I found out Tina was keynote speaking at a Chamber of Commerce luncheon on building trust and ethics in real estate. I made 10 copies, identified the people whose opinions would hurt her most. Her broker, office owner, chamber president, investors, real estate board head, recent clients, and a local business reporter. Then sent them via certified mail, timed to arrive 2 days before her speech. Wednesday afternoon, my phone started ringing. I didn't answer. Let it go to voicemail. Tina called 6 times. Then Marlene called. Russ, she's panicking, Marlene said. She called me screaming about packages, about lies. She knows something's happening. Good, I said. Thursday morning, Kelsey texted me. Mom showed up at my apartment last night, begging me to talk to you, saying you're ruining her life. I told her to leave or I'd call the cops. Dad, I've never seen her like this. I replied, you did the right thing. Stay strong. Tomorrow it all comes out. The next few weeks were a blur of legal motions and depositions. My lawyer filed everything with the prosecutor's office. Criminal fraud charges, identity theft, forgery. The banks filed civil suits for recovery. Her broker suspended her license pending state investigation. Her LLC investors pulled out when they saw the evidence. Every domino I'd carefully positioned started falling exactly like I'd planned. 3 months later, my lawyer called with news. She's pleading guilty. Her attorney worked out a deal. 5 years probation, full restitution, permanent surrender of her real estate license. The alternative was actual prison time. She took it this morning, signed the papers an hour ago. I sat in my kitchen, phone pressed to my ear, and felt nothing. Not satisfaction, not vindication. Just the quiet relief of a circuit finally being shut off properly. No sparks, no fire. Just done. My business recovered faster than I expected. Clients who dropped me called back once the truth came out. New referrals came in from people who'd heard the whole story and respected how I'd handled it. Someone even stopped me at the hardware store, shook my hand, said he'd heard what happened, and that I'd done the right thing. Kelsey's wedding was 6 weeks away. Spring ceremony, small and intimate, exactly what she'd wanted. She'd been planning it for months, every detail carefully chosen. The venue, the flowers, the guest list. Everything perfect except for one problem she'd been avoiding. She called me on a Tuesday evening. "Dad, we need to talk about Mom." I'd been expecting this. "What about her?" "I don't want her there." Her voice was firm, but I could hear the guilt underneath. "Is that wrong? Am I being cruel?" "No," I said. "You're being honest. After what she did, after what she asked you to cover up, you don't owe her a seat at your wedding. She's going to try to come anyway. Then we'll handle it. Security at the venue, clear instructions, your day, your rules." There was a pause. Then Kelsey said quietly, "Thank you for not making this harder. I'm your dad. Making things easier is literally my job." She laughed, but it sounded tired. "I love you. Love you too, kid." 2 weeks before the wedding, Tina showed up at my house. I was in the garage organizing my tools when I heard the car pull up. Recognized the engine sound before I even looked. Her SUV. The same one she'd fought so hard to keep in the divorce. I walked out to the driveway, tool belt still on, and waited. She got out slowly, like she was approaching something dangerous. She looked different, thinner, older. The confidence that used to radiate off her had been replaced with something desperate. "Russ," she said, "can we talk?" "Talk to my lawyer. Please, just 5 minutes. I'm not here to fight." I crossed my arms. Didn't move closer. 5 minutes. She took a breath, and I watched her try to compose herself. The realtor mask tried to slide into place, but couldn't quite stick anymore. "Kelsey won't return my calls, won't answer my texts. I just want to be at her wedding. I'm her mother. She doesn't want you there. You could talk to her, tell her to reconsider. She listens to you." "Not happening." Tina's eyes got wet. The tears were probably real this time. "Russ, please. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But she's my daughter. I gave birth to her. I raised her. She can't just cut me out." "She can," I said. "She did. And I support her decision." "This is cruel. You're being cruel." "No," I said evenly. "I'm being protective. Big difference." She took a step closer. I didn't move. "Russ, I've been thinking. About us. About everything we had. Maybe we could try again. Start over. I know I made mistakes, but I've changed. I see that now." I almost laughed, but didn't. "You're not serious." "I am." Her voice cracked. "Nobody wants me now. Do you know what it's like? Every date I go on, they look me up online and find out what happened. They see the charges, the license suspension. They don't call back. Nobody wants to be with someone who has my reputation. That's not my problem. But it could be different with us. We know each other. We have history. We could make it work this time. I'd be better. I swear I would." I stared at her for a long moment. Saw the calculation behind the tears. The way she was angling for sympathy, trying to find a way back into my life because she'd burned every other bridge. This wasn't love. This wasn't even regret. This was a cornered animal looking for an exit. "No," I said. "We're done. We've been done. You forged my signature. Stole around $70,000. Tried to frame me for your debts. Asked our daughter to help you cover it up. You think crying and saying you've changed makes any of that okay?" I was desperate. I made bad choices. You made deliberate choices. Planned them out over months. And now you're dealing with the consequences. That's not my fault, and it's definitely not my problem to fix. Her face shifted. The tears stopped. The mask came off completely. "You're enjoying this. Watching me beg?" "I'm not enjoying anything," I said. "I'm just not saving you. Big difference." "I hate you," she said quietly. "I know. Doesn't change anything." She stood there for another moment, probably trying to think of something else to say, some other angle to work. When nothing came, she turned and walked back to her SUV. Didn't slam the door, just got in and drove away. Marlene's car pulled into the driveway 10 minutes later. She'd been waiting down the street, giving me space but staying close in case Tina tried something. We'd planned it that way. "She gone?" Marlene asked as she got out. "Yeah." "What did she want?" "To be at the wedding. To get back together. To make me responsible for fixing her life." Marlene's jaw tightened. "What did you tell her?" "No to all of it." She walked over and hugged me tight. "Good." We stood there in my driveway for a minute, her head against my chest, my chin resting on her hair. After everything with Tina, this felt right. Steady, honest, no games, no manipulation. Just two people who'd survived the same storm and decided to build something better. "We should probably head inside," she said eventually. Kelsey's calling in 20 minutes for the final head count. She doing okay? Nervous, excited, worried her mother's going to show up and make a scene. Not going to happen, I said. I already talked to the venue. Security's been briefed. Tina's name and photo are on the no-entry list. She tries to get in. They call the police. Marlene pulled back and looked at me. You really think she'll try? Don't know. Don't care. Either way, we're ready. The venue was a restored barn on the edge of town. I got there early, checked the perimeter, made sure security knew who to watch for. Marlene showed up in a blue dress. We'd been together just over a year. Kelsey approved. The fact that it was Tina's sister made it perfect. Guests filed in. No sign of Tina. Exactly how Kelsey wanted it. 15 minutes before the ceremony, I knocked on the bridal suite. Kelsey opened the door, dress on, makeup perfect. Is she here? No. Her shoulders dropped with relief. Good. We walked the aisle. I handed her off. Sat down next to Marlene. The ceremony was quick. Vows they'd written. When the officiant pronounced them married, the room erupted. At the reception, the DJ was playing something upbeat. Kelsey and her husband were making rounds. Then, the side door opened. Tina walked in like she still had a right to be there. Hair done, makeup fresh, dressed too formal for someone who wasn't invited. I was on my feet. So was security. Two guys in dark suits converged on her path. Kelsey saw her mother. The smile dropped from her face. Ma'am, you need to leave, now. I'm the mother of the bride. Too loud. Half the room turned to watch. You're trespassing. Leave voluntarily or you'll be removed. Tina tried to sidestep him. The guard moved with her. The second guard was already on his radio. We need police backup. Kelsey, I just want to talk to you. Kelsey turned away, her husband guiding her toward the far exit. Tina lunged, tried to push past the guards. Both caught her arms. She thrashed. Let me go! You're hurting me! The DJ cut the music. The entire hall went silent except for Tina's voice, and her heels scraping the floor. Marlene spoke beside me. Get her out of here. Tina saw me. Russ, tell them I'm supposed to be here. You're not. You were specifically uninvited. Leave. She's my daughter. And she doesn't want you here. Her face contorted. You did this. You turned her against me. No, this is yours. Police lights flashed through the windows. Two officers came through the door. Ma'am, calm down right now. I haven't done anything wrong. You're trespassing. Come with us voluntarily, or you'll be arrested. Tina looked between the officers, the guards, and me. Mascara running. This isn't fair. She's my daughter. I deserve to be here. The younger officer pulled handcuffs from his belt. Decision time. Tina sagged. Fine, I'll go. Just let me talk to her first. 30 seconds. No. Walk out or we carry you out. The guards released her arms. Tina stumbled. Looked across the room at Kelsey. Kelsey, baby, please. Get her out. Now. Kelsey's voice cut through the room. The officers flanked Tina. She walked toward the exit, heels clicking on the floor. Every eye in the room watched her go. At the door, she turned back. I'll never forgive you for this, Russ. I can live with that. The door closed. The entire hall was silent for a moment. Then the DJ started the music again. Upbeat. Moving past it. I walked to Kelsey. She was crying. I'm sorry. She shook her head. Don't be. You were right. Is she gone? I checked the window. Police cruiser still there. They're making sure she leaves. Good. Kelsey straightened. We're not letting her ruin this. Let's get back to it. The DJ announced their first dance. People moved again. The spell broken. Marlene found me by the window. We watched Tina's car pull out of the parking lot. The cruiser stayed another 10 minutes, making sure she didn't come back. We danced the rest of the night. Ate cake, listened to toasts. Around 10 p.m., Kelsey found me again. Thank you. For what? For backing me up when I needed it. I hugged my daughter. Always. Later, driving home, Marlene asked the question. Think she'll keep trying? Maybe. But Kelsey set the boundary. Tina crossed it. Now she knows there are consequences. Not our problem anymore. We pulled into my driveway. Inside, we made coffee and sat at the kitchen table. My phone buzzed once. Unknown number. I didn't even look. Just turned it off. Feels good, doesn't it? Being done. Yeah, it does. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.